And you are live. Welcome to the first episode of Jezreel Live.
Jazz.
Jezreel Jazz live with you right now. I am turning off my phone so we can focus on the music, on the wine, and the discussion. So welcome everybody who's going to start tuning in. We're going to see people joining the stream. We're going to get better about promoting this in advance. But this one is live, so welcome. If you have any comments during the broadcast, please let us know. And I am Jacob Ner-David, co-founder of Jezreel Valley Winery. Yehuda Nahar.
Hello, everybody.
Co-founder, winemaker, and chief musician officer. Chief music officer. I am officially the chief wine drinking officer and music appreciation officer, but those are too long to put in acronyms. And the format tonight, so everybody knows, is a little bit more music toward the end, but we are going to be talking about the holiday of Purim, which is coming upon us in a week. 1 week from today. Time flies.
Purim time.
And we're going to be drinking some wine. What wine are we going to be drinking?
Oh, we're going to drink two wines that we think that are just perfect for Purim. Two of them are interesting. We'll give you the different reason why to drink them and what's the connection between them and Purim that is just coming.
Okay, so I'm just going to take 1 minute to share this with a few other folks, so they know that we're here and that we're live. And then I'm not going to play with this anymore, and I will put this away. So there we go. So I put that away.
Jacob, let's just maybe talk about what we're doing. What is Jezreel Jazz?
Jezreel Jazz is the coming together of two of our passions, which is music and wine.
Yeah.
And we connected over music and wine. Our first few dates were when we were dating, when we actually went out to places together, were to concerts.
Right.
May those come again.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Reignite our dating relationship, but
first
also
one was the Dag Nachash.
a Dag Nachash.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the last one
was Disturbed.
Disturbed.
Yeah, we got to get David Draymond. If you're out there,
Yeah.
I will ping you.
Backstage.
We're looking forward to Mr. Draymond coming back and the rest of Disturbed coming back to Israel.
Yeah.
Not exactly jazz, but they can do jazz if they wanted to. They're very versatile.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about wine. We're talking about music and basically what's going on in our lives. And so Purim is an important part.
And
what's going on?
What is this from?
Oh, where are we? You're right.
Where are we?
So
Is this a winery or what?
yeah. So behind us, you can see we're actually in the heart of where we make wine, where the magic happens. That is the barrel room of Jezreel Valley Winery behind us. Where we're sitting right now is, I think, the only music studio in a winery in Israel.
In Israel, for
I think
sure.
I can say that.
In Israel, for sure.
And maybe
Yeah.
in the world, but
Yeah.
definitely can say it's the only one in Israel. We always like to be the first in things, so we're definitely the first in that. And then everyone's going to copy us. There are going to be music studios and wineries all over Israel.
I wish.
So you're all invited, hopefully post-corona, to join us where we have music outside and we enjoy our wine. Until then, we are coming to you live from here in the studio, right next to the barrel room of Jezreel Valley Winery.
Yeah.
And because we need to sell wine in the end, during this broadcast, there are going to be banners. They're going to be going across the screen. They're going to be telling you about where you can order Jezreel wine direct to your homes. You don't even have to go out. And a special discount for people who watch this broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take it away.
Okay. So we're gonna start, and we're actually approaching, as we said, we're approaching Purim. Jacob, what is actually Purim? What's the pshat? of this.
Yeah, we're mainly
of-
speaking English, but we'll go into
Yeah, but pshat,
we'll go into
everybody,
Hebrew, yeah.
everybody knows what pshat is.
yeah, and we're in English, by the way, just because 60% of our wines get drunk abroad, so
Right.
we have to be play to our audience.
But actually, like Purim for many people, most of them, I would say, non-religious people, mainly just celebrate this holiday as something as like culture, as folklore, as something like that. But what's really behind it? Where does it come from?
I don't know who these non-religious people are. It's like people who don't drink wine. They don't drink wine yet.
I mean, like
They think they're not religious.
A lot
They
of
think they're
people
not
are
religious,
just like in Israel, for example. A lot of
Yes,
people are
described
just
as they're not
celebrating Purim. They go to parties, they put costumes, they eat those neman, but
right. They eat
not
the
necessarily
Israel.
really know where does it come from and why do we do everything that is so bizarre.
Right.
That we're doing on
upside
Purim.
down. So like
yeah.
everything else in Jewish life, you have to go back to the book. You have to go back to the text. And we're not going to go through the entire text of the book of Esther, which is the source of Purim. But I welcome you to look it up. Pretty accessible. And it opens, right, with people drinking wine. That's the opening of the story of Purim, which is the king of the Persian Empire at the time, King Ahasuerus, has a 7-day feast, a 7-day party. Imagine being the supplier of wine to a 7-day party. We would be happy.
What actually happened to the Jewish people during these days?
Well, they weren't. So far, they're in a party. Right? When the opening is, they're in a party, and they're invited to the party in the beginning, and they drink the wine of the king. It's called the kingly wine.
Okay.
Right. And at the same time that they're drinking kingly wine, there are the colors that are spread throughout the halls of the king, and the colors are colors which are important to us. It's particularly one of them.
Okay.
And so the wine was right there, right at the beginning, and it's not just that it's wine, and this is also important for the holiday of Purim. Sometimes people think that you're supposed to get drunk on Purim. And you're actually not. If you were at a party for 7 days and you could maintain yourself for 7 days at a party, it means you weren't getting drunk.
Right.
You were drinking in moderation and enjoying yourself the entire time.
Right. So
not getting drunk.
I don't think they were so aware of it, but when we are doing it and drinking in Purim, we probably would prefer something that we can enjoy, maybe get a little bit happy, but you don't want to get wasted.
Right. You don't.
Wine.
Well, I don't think anybody should ever get wasted. I think people should always be, but particularly on holidays like Purim, where we're drinking a lot more wine, and we have what's called a mitzvah, a commandment to be joyful.
Okay.
To be joyful for me means not to be wasted, but to have a nice buzz.
Right. To be happy.
To be happy. And you're in a feast. And if you're in a feast and you're eating a lot and then drinking a lot, you want to be drinking a wine that's not going to weigh you down. So do we have a wine like that?
Exactly. So first wine that we're going to show you guys is a wine I really love. And this vintage 2020 was, I think, amazing for this wine. Our semi-dry Gewürztraminer. Now, when we think about semi-dry, immediately you have something that is probably easy to drink, not so sophisticated, but this wine is actually full of flavors and aromas, and the light sweetness that you get in this wine is just taking everything together, the aromas and the flavors. And what's so great about this wine and will suit perfectly for the Mishteh and for the celebrating in Purim is the fact that the alcohol level in this wine is very, very low. It's 10.5%
10.5%,
which is like, I don't know, drinking 2 beers. That's all.
The whole bottle.
You can easily go on this bottle and just drink it. So
wow.
Smells like what?
It's right now in the fields around us, there's an explosion of color, which is wild to see. It's really, really beautiful.
Winter flowers.
The Gewürz is an explosion of aromas, I think.
Right.
Wow, right out of the bottle.
And what's unique about Israeli Gewürztraminer is the tropical flavors.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why we chose to do a semi-dry Gewürztraminer, not a dry Gewürztraminer. Usually when you get a Gewürztraminer coming from Austria, Germany, Alsace, they are very mineral, very sharp, acidic, but they don't get these like tropical pineapple, mango, lychee stuff. But when we grow it in Israel, we get them, and then the light sweetness in this wine is just transforming all these flavors very easily to be precise. Like usually when people drink wine or smell wine and say, "Oh, I get some, I don't know, apples, grass, blackberry, you name it," like wine people, stone, mushrooms, truffles, dirty dog, whatever.
Don't go there.
These are stuff that you really need to be like a wine guy to understand. But in this wine, you just get it. You smell it and you get like,
Oh, it really
it's
is.
peach.
You're walking.
It's
It's basically walking through an orchard, right? Right when the fruits are being picked. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you can just reach out and grab one and start eating.
So
it's really wonderful.
Yeah. So
Gewürz, everybody.
So this is Gewürztraminer,
Gewürz.
and this is a wine from Jezreel that we are recommending for, especially for Purim. And you also can, if you're watching us, you can also get
A discount.
a discount on this
So
wine.
anybody in the USA watching this can order wine in time for Purim. If you order it today, tomorrow, or even Sunday, you'll get it in time for Purim. We have the wine sitting in a warehouse in the States. Just go to JezreelWinery.store and you can use the code coupon Purim gift for 10% discount on Gewürz, which also leads me to a discussion of our next wine. That because we don't want to go this on too long. We could be here all night, and oftentimes we are, but in this room. But we want to keep this relatively short.
Yeah.
So, in Purim, there's a couple of things going on. But one of the things going on, which we started to talk about before, is where this was happening and the king and what it's like to be a king and royal wine we mentioned. But there's something right at the beginning of the story where, and I'll just kind of read the text for all of you, which is now after I've had the wine, I got to find it. So it's talking about these tapestries that were in the hall of the king. Chur, Karpas, Utchelet, Achuz, Bechevlei Butz, Argaman. Argaman? What color is that? Argaman?
Yeah.
What is that? And what's fascinating is that there are some translations which you can find that translate the rest of those colors. And when it gets to Argaman, they just write Argaman because they weren't sure what the actual color of Argaman was. And there's a whole story as to why. In a different episode, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But
and me personally, I'm just colorblind, so I will never know what people mean when they say Argaman. But if you need to describe Argaman, it would be like very, very deep red that is actually between red and purple, right?
But by the way, his color blindness I always forget about because he's, again, so into wine and food and music and basically so sensitive to so many aspects of our senses that you always have to remind me that you're colorblind because I always forget.
Yeah, but being colorblind is so cool because colors are changing in your eyes all the time.
Or in your mind.
Yeah, but whatever. People look at the sky, they see gray, but I see pink. Isn't that cool? So
we have a wine that's actually called Argaman.
Called Argaman, and before we actually show this wine and taste it, I think that talking about Purim, talking about what happens with Haman, the threat on the Jewish people, which is something that we are dealing with all the time, and is still relevant all the time, just gives it more meaning because, well, actually being in Israel, producing wine is already a huge privilege, considering our history as the Jewish people. But doing that and adding to that the fact that we can make wine that is coming from a true Israeli Jewish variety, that's like the best of the best for us. And this is the reason why the wine that is so precious to us and we are focusing on so much at Jezreel is this wine.
It says Argaman. That's
Yeah.
our the label if
That's
here in Israel.
That's an Israeli label, Argaman. That's the variety. It's a true Israeli variety that we make from the first harvest, and getting more and more focused on that. And we're just getting better with this grape because there was not much knowledge around us of how to make high quality and great Argaman. And I will pour you some so you can taste it and describe. Look at the color. If you can see, the color is just so
Yeah,
dark.
it's an incredible coloring, first of all. But color is not enough, especially for somebody who's colorblind.
Yeah.
But the color is not enough. So going very different wine journey than the Gewürz. From an aroma point of view, right? You're moving from the tropical or the moving from the lychee and the peach to a real deep what I call wine experience. For me, first of all, it takes more time to develop than right out of the bottle, like the Gewürz for me.
Sure. But this wine is like I would say as fresh as it can get when we're talking about a red wine.
Yeah.
And this is what's so special about Argaman. The grape is so suitable for the Israeli climate, and it keeps the acidity. And you just get a red wine that is full of flavors and full of aromas and super delicious, but at the same time is not heavy. And is just great with almost every food. But yeah, I mean, Israeli food, Mediterranean food will complement the most. How does it taste?
It tastes wonderful. I think if you have to, I would differentiate the taste from the aromas. The aromas are kind of like what you would expect a royal wine to smell like, if you will. Meaning it's very high level but very refined.
Okay.
It's a style but very class. Okay. Very classy.
Yeah.
Meaning not so in your face.
Yeah. But at the same time, the taste of Argaman is actually different than every other wines. Every red wine that you will taste is different. It's unique.
We were just tasting a very different wine, very different red wine yesterday, and yesterday, and we realized after we were tasting it, the problem was that we had been drinking these style wines so much of our time that we drank something else, and it was sort of too much in our face.
Because we are into Mediterranean
exactly.
Wines and
that flow,
wines,
that flow that have
easy to drink.
There's
So also on this wine,
yes,
our coupon code for Purim gift on Argaman, which is our flagship wine.
Very limited production, and I just want to say, when Yehuda said there wasn't a lot of winemaking knowledge 10 years ago around Argaman, it's because it's a very challenging variety to work with. We're not going to get too technical right now, but because of that, we take great care in what we make, and it's limited production. So we do have some of it in the States. I would urge you to grab a few bottles. I'm on my salesperson hat on. Grab a few bottles if you can. You will not be disappointed. We just drink. And people ask about drinking windows. This is a wine show, so I'll just talk about wine for a second. People ask about drinking windows. We just drank Argaman 2012 the other day.
Yeah.
And wow, fantastic.
It was great.
Wonderful.
14
for sure.
Just kicking.
Yeah.
Right now, most places you can get our 17 Algaman, which is ready to drink, but it can age easily for 6,
yeah, definitely
7 years. But you don't need to wait so much with this wine.
No. And I'll just say one more thing about the holiday of Purim, and then maybe you'll play a little bit more music to see us out.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we're in a music studio.
Yeah.
So while Yehuda gets set up, I'll and no, I'm not very good playing any music. I appreciate it. I play the table very well on Shabbat, but I have tried to play. And the only thing I do want to say is, if you continue the story of Purim, if you continue to read the book, you'll see that the climatic, dramatic moment that happens when the tension all happens, when Haman is confronted, the bad guy is confronted by Esther and the king, is at a wine tasting, at a wine party. And there's a great line where the king gets so upset and he leaves, but the text is very careful to say the king leaves the wine feast. In other words, it was very important for everyone to be in the context of where they were. Wine is a central part of Jewish history, but it's certainly a central part of the Purim story. And for us, being upside down means that we get to enjoy wine on Purim without any of the hang-ups, without any of the threats, without any of that tension, just to enjoy it for what it is, enjoy life, and enjoy the wines, enjoy life.